Welcome to NarrativeNook where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Did Carol ever show up in the end? Arabella asked again. No, that kid hasn't answered any of our messages since she found her biological parents. We were worried she'd come running if she saw that we were hurt, but thank God she didn't. Logan exhaled deeply, preferring to be in danger himself rather than have his daughter involved. They left after 3 days? It seems they received an important call and didn't untie us before they left. We hadn't eaten for 3 days. Although the wounds weren't that deep, they were untreated, and we both ended up with fever. It took a couple of days for us to recover at home. Arabella understood. No wonder the neighbors said that Mr. and Mrs. Earwood didn't open their door until 4 or 5 days later. Did they leave any message behind? Arabella kept on inquiring. They just warned us to keep our mouths shut if we didn't want anything bad to happen to Carol. They threatened that the whole town would suffer if we opened our mouth. On hearing that, Clark asked, "Were those guys good with their hands, like they've had special training?" Logan nodded in agreement and said, "They didn't seem like ordinary people." At first, they thought they were dealing with street thugs, but they soon realized they were not ordinary hoodlums. "So, you figured Carol was in danger and wanted to find her?" Arabella asked again. "Yes," Logan nodded, "but what we didn't expect was that we've been in Lidoria for almost 3 months and there's been no news. Plus, we've noticed some strange things." "What things?" Arabella and Clark asked in unison. "When we come home from our tutoring jobs, we always feel like things in the house have been moved." Upon hearing that, Arabella had a very bad feeling. "You mean, someone's been here?" "Stop talking." Arabella immediately stood up, turned off all the lights in the house, took out a detector from her bag, and scanned the entire living room. She found 6 cameras and 4 bugs. They'd probably been filmed from the moment they stepped into the living room. Arabella began to dismantle the hidden cameras in the wall sockets, the miniature cameras in the screw holes, and so on. Taylor was frightened and took refuge in her husband's arms, watching the girl's actions in disbelief. She couldn't believe that those seemingly insignificant items were actually eyes that were watching their every move. Logan realized suddenly that those siblings were not ordinary people either. After all, they carried such detection devices with them at all times, and the girl's calm demeanor was far from that of an ordinary high school student. Who were they? What was their identity? Seeing the girl dismantle and destroy everything, Taylor couldn't help but ask, "Kid, are you sure these things are cameras and bugs?" These are just like the ones installed in your house. They're not the latest models, but they'll do for eavesdropping." "Why would they be watching us?" Taylor thought to herself. No wonder her husband had felt something amiss about the house a few times before. She had initially dismissed his concerns, but at that point it seemed that their house had been invaded multiple times, and cameras and bugs had been installed. The mere thought of it sent chills down her spine. Arabella pulled out a tiny button, indistinguishable from the real one unless inspected closely. Not only Logan and Taylor, but even Clark was also surprised by that. He didn't expect his sister to carry such gadgets around. Arabella had come there with the intention of investigating Carol's whereabouts, so her small backpack was filled with various devices. But our arrival here must have been captured on camera, though the audio would be disrupted. They can't hear us, but they can see us. So, this place isn't safe anymore? Taylor was worried. Nodding, Arabella said, "Pack your stuff. We need to leave as soon as possible." Arabella mentioned earlier that Carol didn't come to Lidoria. "There's no point in us staying here. We should pack up and leave with them," Taylor discussed with her husband. She was wary of those people. After all, they were ruthless and skilled. Logan nodded, and they both went to pack. Arabella took out her phone again, pulled up Jerry's WhatsApp she had added earlier, and asked him to book a room at a hotel owned by Macmillan Corporation. It was relatively safer than this place. "Bella, I don't know how to thank you." With the investigation reaching that point, his sister was the unsung hero, but Clark was also worried about bringing danger upon her. "I'm just looking for my sister-in-law. It's my duty." Carol was a part of that family. It was her responsibility to find her if she was missing. Aren't you worried that you might not get along with your future sister-in-law? After all, Arabella hadn't met Carol yet and didn't know what kind of person she was. It doesn't matter, as long as you're happy with her. Arabella wasn't one for sweet talk, but if Clark had chosen Carol, her character obviously couldn't be too bad. So, she wasn't worried about it. Even if both she and Carol were aloof and didn't have much to talk about, if Clark was happy, that was enough. Suddenly, there was a strange noise from the bedroom, and Taylor instinctively screamed, "Arabella." Realizing something was wrong, Arabella exchanged a glance with Clark and immediately rushed into the room. Inside, a masked man in black was covering Taylor's mouth. Logan was struggling with another black-clad man. Seeing that, Arabella tried to kick the man in black by Mr. Earwood aside. The man in black knew that she was no ordinary girl. He dodged her kick, not wanting to waste time with Mr. Earwood, and focused on dealing with Arabella. Clark went to rescue Mrs. Earwood. As he struggled with the man in black, Taylor was trembling with fear. Logan told Taylor to hide by the nightstand, grabbed the lamp on it, and smashed it toward the man in black. The man in black noticed the impending danger and swiftly evaded, barely missing Clark's head with a table lamp. Fortunately, Arabella managed to kick it aside. More men in black poured into the first floor. Arabella turned to Logan behind her. "You all escape through the window. I've arranged for Jerry to meet you outside. Clark, use my phone to call Jerry." With that, she threw her phone to Clark, bolted the door, and turned her steely gaze to the dozen or so men in black. "Who are you, and why are you meddling?" The leader of the men in black was bristling with murderous intent, his piercing eyes radiating terrifying intimidation. "Your worst nightmare," Arabella retorted as she was in no mood for small talk. Clark had no clue about his sister's phone password. Fortunately, he was a hacker. After a bit of effort, he managed to crack it, only to find out it was simply 123456. He almost shed a tear at the simplicity. After calling Jerry, he helped the two elders climb out the window, leave through the yard, and arrive at the entrance just as Jerry's car pulled up. "Don't worry. Jerry will take you to a safe place." He had to go back to help Arabella. He couldn't let her face that danger all alone. "My bag," Taylor whimpered. "It has the scarf Carol knitted for me, and the necklace she bought me with her first paycheck." Even though they were not valuable, they meant the world to her. It was all she had left to remember her by. "Don't worry, I'll get your bag," Clark assured her as more men in black approached. He quickly closed the car door and prepared to face them alone. "Stay safe, Clark." Taylor banged on the car window, terrified as she saw Clark being surrounded. Logan didn't expect things to get that complicated and dangerous. "Stop the car." Jerry thought he heard wrong. "I can't leave those kids alone in this danger." "Stop the car," Logan insisted, feeling that he needed to help them. "Those people are after us. We can't leave those kids to face them all by themselves." Wasn't that just sending the kids to their deaths? But Jerry hesitated, eventually saying, Mr. Logan, even 100 of you wouldn't stand a chance against Miss Bella. If she can't handle them, you won't be of much help. It would be a sure death." He was taken aback by that comment. 100 of him. Logan and Taylor were stunned. That girl, could she really take on 100 men? Looking at Bella, who was always so cold, quiet, and well-behaved. Could she really fight all those men? "Who are you?" Taylor asked Jerry, who was driving. "Where are you taking us?" "Don't worry, Miss Bella and Clark will meet us soon," Jerry reassured them. While waiting for the traffic lights, he reported the situation to Carl. The gist was, when his car left the apartment, the men swarmed out. Some of them probably saw his license plate, so he needed reinforcements, or else they might fall in danger. Logan and Taylor were still puzzled. What did he mean by that? After receiving the news, Carl ordered his subordinates to rush to the apartment to help Miss Bella. Meanwhile, Arabella and Clark had already taken down the men in the apartment with relative ease. Arabella pinned one of the men under her foot. "Spill it." The anonymous figure in black was ready to bite his own tongue off, but Arabella, with a casual flick of her wrist, sprinkled a white powder that filled the room. One by one, several people dropped to the floor unconscious. By the time Romeo's men arrived at that place, the room was littered with bodies, more than a dozen of them sprawled in every direction. Their masks had already been removed, revealing unfamiliar faces, and there were no tattoos or markings on their bodies. The rest is for you to deal with. Arabella knew that those men were notoriously tight-lipped, and it would take days if not weeks, to extract any useful information from them. Just be careful not to attract attention. Yes, Miss Bella. We will take care of it from here on. The lead bodyguard watched Arabella's retreating figure, pulling out his phone, intending to sneak a picture of Arabella. But Arabella noticed it, turning back to ask, "What are you doing?" Startled, the bodyguard's hand trembled. "I was taking a picture for Mr. Macmillan to prove that Miss Bella is safe." God, Miss Bella's aura was intimidating. Even after years of navigating through the underworld, he found himself a bit unsettled. Clark was also stunned. He thought the man had taken a liking to his sister and wanted to sneak a picture of her as a memento, but he didn't expect that it was Romeo's idea. Arabella was likewise at a loss for words. Before she left that place, she instructed, "Clean up this mess as soon as possible." "Yes." The man blushed, feeling somewhat embarrassed. Clark picked up a bag from the ground, opened it, and found a scarf and some other personal items. It must be the bag Mrs. Earwood had mentioned earlier. A car was waiting outside to take them to meet up with Jerry. As soon as Arabella got into the car, she asked, "Clark, any new discoveries?" After they had taken down those men, they confiscated their phones and discovered their conversation was coded with special terms. There was even a picture of Arabella. Apparently, they were planning to capture her. The picture was a screenshot from a surveillance video. Clark knew that his sister was being targeted and the situation was very dangerous. He had tried to decipher the codes in the room but didn't find anything new. "Once I decode these messages, I'll try to trace them remotely and see if we can find any leads," Clark said. Arabella leaned back, exuding the aura of a boss. "If that doesn't work, we'll wait for the next batch to come, and I'll pretend to be overwhelmed and let them take me." In that way, they could locate their hideout, find out what kind of organization they were, and even uncover the truth about Carol's past in the process. "No, I won't let you take that risk." Clark immediately rejected the idea. "If anyone's going there, it's going to be me." "Do you think you can get away?" Arabella raised an eyebrow. Clark was at a loss for words. He knew that those men were skilled fighters. If it wasn't for Arabella, he would have had a hard time facing them alone. "Anyway, this is not open for discussion. I won't cooperate with you on this, nor will I allow you to take the risk." Clark was unwilling to let his sister go on a dangerous mission alone. "Clark, I know what I'm doing." "No." There's no room for negotiation. Clark knew that his sister was stubborn. Even if he disagreed, she would carry on with her plan secretly. "Clark, you should give me those phones." "Do you think I won't tell you once I decode the messages?" "But you will go alone, won't you?" Clark was stunned. He didn't expect his sister to be so perceptive. Arabella was clearly a better hacker than he was. If he gave her all the phones, she might decode them first and go there alone. "Clark, I feel like there's a certain lack of trust between us." He was speechless. Clark, feeling the pressure from his sister, could only say, "All right, I promise you, after I crack it, I'll share the information with you. But you also must promise not to venture out alone. If we're going together. Deal?" She agreed to his proposal, but he still was hesitant on believing her. "No lying," Clark emphasized. "Okay." Hearing her promise, Clark's anxieties were slightly alleviated. Their car pulled up in front of a vast ranch on the outskirts of town, with sprawling fields and a herd of cows grazing leisurely. There stood an inconspicuous house in the middle of the ranch, where Mr. and Mrs. Earwood had been taken. That was a safe location owned by Romeo, a place where no one would think of looking for them at that time. As Clark got out of the car, he fumbled with his bag, causing its contents to spill out. Arabella bent down to pick it up, only to find something odd about the necklace. "What's wrong?" Clark asked, puzzled. Arabella shook the necklace in her hand. "There seems to be something inside it." "Something?" Clark took the necklace and saw that it was a simple red string necklace with a pendant, like a talisman from a temple. Mimicking Arabella, he shook it and indeed heard a faint sound from within. There really was something inside. As they approached the house, Taylor, who had been anxiously waiting at the door, saw their safe return and couldn't contain her relief and guilt. "I'm so glad you're okay." Seeing that they were unscathed, Taylor couldn't help but hug the two children as she prayed for their safe return. Logan was becoming more and more convinced that those siblings were not ordinary. They had managed to return safe and sound from such perilous circumstances. No ordinary person would have such skills. "Mrs. Taylor, this is your bag." Clark handed her the bag. Taylor was overjoyed. "Thank goodness, nothing is lost, everything's still here." "And this necklace?" Clark handed her the necklace, reminding them, "There seems to be something inside." "I suggest we open it up and see," Arabella said gently. Something was inside. What could it be? "This is a necklace that Carol got from a temple last year for her dad, for protection. But then the string broke and he stopped wearing it," Taylor explained. "Last year, Logan had been having a bit of bad luck, so Carol got this from a temple and insisted that Logan wear it every day without taking it off. Let's open it." Logan also shook the pendant and heard the faint sound from within. What if there was a clue inside? How do we open it? Taylor was unsure of what to do. "Let me try." Arabella found that the pendant was not simple, it used a lock mechanism, layer upon layer. If not opened in the correct order, it wouldn't budge. Eventually, everyone saw a tiny chip inside the opened pendant. "Why would this be here?" Logan and Taylor exclaimed in unison, "What is it for?" That was the first time Arabella had seen such a small and delicate chip, slightly bigger than a grain of rice, its purpose unknown for that moment. Could it be that Carol had something to say, and she wanted to tell us through this chip? Clark seemed to have stumbled upon something that linked him with Carol, and his heart pounded with excitement. Arabella suddenly had a thought. "Clark, didn't Carol give you an amulet as well?" Upon hearing that, Clark realized, "You think there might be something hidden in the amulet too?" "There is a chance." Clark instantly pulled out his wallet and retrieved the red, triangular amulet. He shook it but heard no such sound from within. The thought that it might be hiding a clue made him brace himself, and he carefully began to unravel the amulet. Logan and Taylor held their breath, watching his actions closely, and soon, a tiny crescent moon appeared at the very heart of the amulet. That moon was about the size of a fingertip, made of platinum, and had a strange symbol carved on it. "Is this a clue Carol left for me?" Clark couldn't believe that Carol had hidden that in the amulet so long ago, and it had taken him all that time to finally find it. If it hadn't been for his sister's reminder, he likely would never have discovered it. He felt so foolish. What's the meaning of this tiny moon? What's its purpose? Taylor couldn't guess. What message is Carol trying to get across to us? Logan, too, was unsure of its purpose, examining it closely in his hand. If Carol really is involved with some organization, could this symbol be the organization's logo? "It could certainly be a possibility," Arabella confirmed. "I'll have someone look into it." She took a photo and sent it to Jack, asking him to identify the symbol as quickly as possible. Carol must have realized long ago that she was in danger. She didn't abandon us, her parents, or leave Clark. It must have been a last resort, Taylor surmised, tears streaming down her face again. "I have a suggestion." At Arabella's words, everyone turned to look at her, curious about her new idea. "I propose we examine everything Carol left behind." "You mean we should even take this scarf apart?" Taylor's tears were welling up, but what could possibly be hidden in a scarf? She had washed it so many times, any clues would have surely been washed away by that point. What if we find something new? Hearing Arabella's suggestion, Taylor thought it over, and finally decided to unravel the scarf to see. Logan picked up a platinum necklace. This was the first gift Carol bought for her mother after she started making money. "It's made of platinum, there's probably nothing suspicious about it." "Let me see." Arabella took the heart-shaped platinum necklace. It looked ordinary, but she pulled out a magnifying glass from her bag to see if there was anything written on it. "Kid, aren't you overthinking?" Logan couldn't help saying. How could there possibly be a clue on this tiny thing? "Have you heard about a new story, a calligrapher who could write characters 3 millimeters tall with a brush? It was called microcalligraphy." Arabella explained as she examined the necklace. Later, another calligrapher broke the record by writing characters only 0.8 millimeters tall, and now there's even smaller writing. Logan was shocked. He'd never imagined such a thing could exist. Taylor felt as if they had been stuck in their small town for ages, completely oblivious to the wonders and technological advancements of the outside world. Clark, look at this necklace. The heart pendant has some weird symbols on it, Arabella said, handing over the piece she'd discovered. Clark studied it closely and gave his observation. It seems like it's written in some special ink or maybe even etched. I wonder what message Carol was trying to get across. Arabella thought Carol was pretty clever, leaving so many clues behind. Clark was secretly thrilled at that discovery. Initially, he thought finding Carol would be like searching for a needle in a haystack, but at that moment there seemed to be some hope. If they could somehow decipher those symbols, they might be able to find her soon. Do these symbols resemble the ones we've seen on their cell phones? Clark speculated. Carol must have sensed danger a long time ago. She probably left these clues for us in case something happened to her. I think Carol might have known she was in danger and left these items behind. These could be bargaining chips against the organization, Arabella suggested. If they had leverage, they had a chance to negotiate. At that moment, Taylor unwrapped the scarf and found a thick strand of yarn with something hidden inside it. What's this? She cut it open to find a small silver key. It was about the size of a fingertip and its function was unclear to them at that point. What on earth did Carol get herself involved in? Taylor felt a growing sense of unease. Carol must have had something on that organization, which is why they're so desperate to find her, Arabella guessed. When those guys came to your house a few months ago, they didn't harm you. That might have been because Carol had something they badly wanted. They clearly knew that if anything happened to you guys, Carol wouldn't hesitate to bring them down with her. Hearing that, Taylor felt a lump in her throat. What else was Carol hiding from them? Was she safe? Arabella's phone vibrated just at that moment. It was a call from Romeo. I'll take this call, she said, moving toward the window. Bella, Romeo's gentle voice came through the phone. Are you all right? I'm fine, Arabella smiled as she teased. Didn't your guy send you a picture? Romeo fell silent for a moment. He really didn't expect his man to be so careless. He quickly changed the subject. I have something to tell you. Go ahead, Arabella turned back and saw Taylor quietly wiping her tears while Clark and Logan tried to comfort her. Before I tell you, you have to promise me that I'll be part of your next move, Romeo began to negotiate with her. Arabella immediately guessed that he must have found some important clue, so she agreed without any hesitation. Okay. I found out the last place Carol was seen, which was about a month ago in the triangular zone. Are you absolutely sure about that? Yes, Romeo correctly guessed Arabella's next move and said, take me with you. Arabella didn't expect Carol to be in the triangular zone, but it made quite sense. It was a lawless region, the most dangerous and yet the safest place. Then, have your people take Taylor, Logan, and Clark back home. Find a safe place for them to stay. Tomorrow, meet us directly in the triangular zone, Arabella instructed. Perhaps surprised by Arabella's swift agreement, Romeo simply responded, okay, see you tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, Arabella looked up and said, Chris, prepare the plane. We'll be sending them home first. Yes. Chris quickly responded. Taylor, with tearful eyes, asked in astonishment, we're leaving so soon? But we haven't found Carol yet. It's not safe for you two to stay there. Arabella approached them, speaking softly, we will find Carol, trust us. Take us with you. Taylor pleaded, clutching Arabella's hand, we don't want to go home. We promise we won't be a burden. As long as we're in the same city, we'll stay out of your way. No. Arabella was firm. The place we're heading to next is even more dangerous than here. After all, the triangular zone was notoriously chaotic. Even though she and Romeo had a stronghold there, caution was always wise. I can guarantee that we'll have news about Carol within a week. Arabella's words seemed to provide a soothing reassurance. Within a week? Clark found it hard to believe that they could locate Carol in such a short time. Had that phone call Bella received earlier brought some clues? Carol will be found within a week. Taylor's tears started flowing again, unsure whether to feel relieved or excited. Which country is she in now? Which city? Not far from us. Arabella didn't elaborate, fearing the seniors might act on their own. You'll stay at a place we've arranged until we find her. There, you'll be looked after and protected, and you won't have to worry about food or accommodation. Do we have to leave? Taylor still wanted to stay close to her daughter. But Logan seemed to have made a decision. Let's do as they say. We won't be of any help here, and we're just causing them trouble. They said we'll hear about Carol, and I believe that. Arabella, let's exchange contact information. Logan took out his phone and saved Arabella and Clark's numbers, and added them on WhatsApp. Taylor did the same, but there was still something bothering her. We're leaving so abruptly, and we haven't even notified that old professor. Yes, he's a poor man. I'll call him first. Logan made several attempts, but the call went unanswered. We should say goodbye in person and return the rest of this month's rent to him. Taylor's words were promptly rejected by Arabella. No, you can't go anywhere right now. The plane will be here soon. But that old man is so pitiful. Taylor felt guilty about leaving so abruptly. She told Arabella that the old man was from Solterra and had moved to Iridia with his son after his son married a foreign woman. But he couldn't communicate with his daughter-in-law because he didn't speak any foreign language. Later, due to a job change, his son and daughter-in-law moved to a far-off suburb, which made it inconvenient for the old man to even buy groceries. So he stayed alone in the old house in Iridia, hired a tutor, and studied every day. He only did this so he could communicate with his grandchildren when they visited him each month. If Logan and Taylor left, the old man would be even lonelier. Usually, he was alone, with no one to talk to. He gave us a lot of money at that time. What's left, we have to return to him. Taylor didn't want to take advantage of him. Then give me his phone number. I will call him later. If he doesn't answer, I will deliver the money to him. Arabella said softly, give me the address. Okay, just tell him that we sent you to express our apologies. Say that we really had something come up and didn't stand him up on purpose. Taylor felt truly sorry. Arabella noted down the phone number and address, then said to Clark, Clark, you stay here later and see them off to the airport. Okay. At this moment, Arabella's phone started vibrating again. It was a call from Grandpa Beck. Bella, what have you been up to lately? You haven't visited the lab in a while. The results from the P31 research are out, and I was planning to start the next experiment with you. Arabella moved to the window and spoke gently. Grandpa Beck, I'm abroad at the moment, dealing with some things. What? You're overseas? Grandpa Beck's eyes widened. Didn't you say there were a few factions looking for you? Isn't going abroad like walking into a trap? Come back quickly. Nothing is more important than your safety. Are you short on money? I have plenty, and I'll give it all to you. The few factions have quieted down a lot recently. Arabella smiled. Don't worry, I can take care of myself. It's not about money, and I'm just looking for someone. You're safer in the lab. Grandpa Beck was always worried that if Arabella were too public, it would cause more trouble. Before, when people didn't know her identity, she could go abroad for some errands. But now, she was the target of many people. I know I'll be back as soon as possible, Arabella reassured him. I'll start on other experiments first, and we'll research this together when you return. Let me tell you, if this turns out as we expect, it will be a world-shattering achievement in medical science. Your name will be worth its weight in gold, and your future will be limitless. That's all thanks to your efforts, Grandpa. Arabella didn't claim the credit but said, You're the one who spends the most time in the lab and forgets to eat or sleep because of the research. I'm planning to retire after this project and spend my old age in the countryside. Grandpa Beck also felt that he was more willing than able. I'm getting old, while I still can. I want to contribute more to society, help those who are sick, and reduce some pain. The image of his wife's death was still fresh in his mind. It still pierced his heart and caused him great pain. If only there had been a cure for certain incurable diseases earlier, his wife wouldn't have had to leave him. Now, once the medical achievement he and Bella made came out, it will save countless people and spare countless families from suffering. He had experienced the pain of losing a loved one and didn't want others to go through the same. Are you thinking about Grandma again? Arabella knew that, at this moment, he must be thinking of his wife. When we get these projects done, I can brag about it to your grandma in the underworld and let her praise me. Grandpa Beck chuckled over the phone. All right, keep up your work, but try to return home as soon as possible. It's a different ball game outside, not like here back in the States. Here in the States, she had her own influence, the backing of a few influential grandfathers, and Romeo's power. All of these could ensure her safety. But abroad? That was a different story. Arabella flashed a small smile. All right, I got it. After hanging up the call, Arabella saw 2 messages from Jack on her phone. Boss, those 4 guys at Villa Cascada aren't eating or drinking. They're trying to off themselves at every chance they get. If it weren't for your life-saving injection, they'd probably be dead by now. We've tried everything, but they won't spill a single word. What should we do? They had tried both physical and psychological torture, but these guys were tough. They didn't let out a peep. Arabella's slender fingers typed in response, "Won't spill? Didn't they already?" Those obscure, insignificant organizations would have blabbed everything they know under such pressure. She added, to prefer death over revealing a single word, only a handful of organizations here and abroad would have such loyalty. Jack replied almost instantly, "Right, I can start investigating these few organizations first. Maybe we'll find a lead. Get me the results of the other investigations as soon as possible." Arabella didn't want to waste time. "Roger that, boss. I'll hurry." After responding to the messages, Arabella looked up at Clark. "Clark, come out for a moment." Clark, who had been softly comforting the elderly couple, stood up and walked outside upon hearing his sister's words. "Romeo just called me. He said that about a month ago, someone saw Carol in the triangular zone." "What did you say?" Clark gripped his sister's shoulder in excitement. "Are you sure? Could there be a mistake? Romeo's information is usually reliable." Clark was ecstatic. "Then what are we waiting for? As soon as the folks board the plane, we should head over to the triangular zone. Let's not act rashly." Arabella said calmly, "I've already promised Romeo that we'll meet him there tomorrow." "Can't we go today?" Clark was impatient, wishing he could fly over to the triangular zone right now and search every nook and cranny for his beloved Carol. "We can go tonight." Because it would take about 10 hours to fly there, and by the time they reached, it would already be the next day. Clark tried to suppress his excitement but was also worried. That place is a notorious lawless area. Carol will definitely be in danger there. "I don't know who she's with, or if she's alone. Bella, the people there are not good." He was extremely concerned about Carol's safety. Arabella thought, "Clark, are you talking about me? Am I not a good person? Every single one of them is no good." Clark expressed his worry. "Shouldn't we go there right now?"
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.